Hey guys, this is Andrew Erickson, the host of the ZonCom podcast. Thanks again for joining us today. And thanks again to Dr. Travis Ziegler for joining us for a second time. Hey, Travis.
Andrew, thanks for having me on a second time.
Alrighty. So Travis was on a prior episode. We heard all about his story, about his mission to. So why don't you tell the story? Or tell like your
abridged
mission.
version.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I run a brand with my wife called I Love, and our mission is to help 1 million dry eye sufferers naturally. And then we use the portion of the revenue from I Love to go towards our charity, which is called the I Love Cares Foundation. And the mission of the charity is to help help the 1 billion people that are blind due to lack of glasses in this world. And so the charity is like our big why in life, and I Love is how we get there.
Awesome. That's perfect. If you want to hear a whole 30-minute interview on that, look at the prior episode with Travis, and the link to that will be in the show notes. Today, Travis is going to tell us about his PPC strategies. So Dr. Travis Ziegler is an optometrist, but he's also just an all-around awesome business guy. And I'm getting a vibe that you have a bit of a nerd streak in you, Travis.
You know, people say that about me. I try not to think of myself as too nerdy, but yeah, I am nerdy. And when I get into something, I get into it and I try to master it. So like I Love is simple. We do three things really well, and that's it. And so we've simplified our business quite a bit, and it's kind of set us free in a sense.
Fantastic. And we're going to learn a little strategy on PPC on how to set us free. So why don't you go ahead and give us a little intro on some of the high level stuff you do on PPC?
Yeah, so I'll go into the three things just real briefly. So
sure,
we had a very complex business, and everybody was everywhere. Nobody knew what was going on. Project management wasn't getting done, and we kind of narrowed it down at the beginning of 2020 to three things: we build our audience, we create content, and Amazon PPC. So a lot of your listeners out there are probably spreading themselves too thin. They're going over to Amazon Europe, they're going to Canada, they're going to Australia, they're going to Amazon US, they're doing Shopify, they're doing ClickFunnels, they're doing all these different things. And we were doing that. And when we brought everything back in, we got rid of everything. We have a Shopify store, but we don't pay attention to it. It's just there. We got rid of Amazon Europe, Canada, and Australia. And we just started focusing on Amazon PPC in Amazon US. And that's it. When we simplified our business, we took off, our profits went up, our revenues went up, everything went up. And so with PPC, what we did, and this also happens with PPC, a lot of problems that I see with people, especially clients, but also some of my students as well, is that they're doing a million different strategies. And so they learn a strategy over here from a course. They take another course and learn a strategy over here. Then there's free stuff on YouTube, which I have released, and they learn something from that video. And then they hear something on your podcast, and they're implementing all these different strategies, and it's jumbled and it doesn't work. And so then they're more confused and they don't really know where to start or even go. And so I always recommend my 80-20 strategy. My 80-20 strategy simplifies Amazon PPC. And for those listeners that don't know what 80-20 means, it's Pareto's principle. It just means that 20% of your input creates 80% of your results. And so 20% of the seeds you plant in your garden produce 80% of the fruit or vegetables that you planted. 20% of your products produce 80% of your sales. 20% of your customers produce 80% of your revenue. And finally, with Amazon PPC, 20% of your search terms create 80% of your results. And so all this strategy is built around is focusing on the keywords that are in that 20%. And how you focus on them is you create exact matches for them. Just to get a little more tactical, you create an exact match for them. Exact match campaigns are how you scale Amazon PPC. Everything else is more of a discovery campaign. And so when you find the 20% of search terms that create 80% of your results, make sure they're in an exact match type. And that's how you can scale. Now, when you have budget left over after you've started scaling those search terms, that's when you start coming out with broad and auto campaigns, because those are more discovery campaigns. Those are the three things that I tell all new sellers and even experienced sellers to focus on. If you simplify your PPC to just that, you will take off faster than most people because everybody else is focusing on sponsored brands and sponsored display and sponsored video ads. And what about Amazon DSP? Those are all shiny objects. If you focus on exact scale campaigns and discovering with broad and auto, I don't like auto too much and I don't like phrase that much, but there is a place for them. But it's for discovery and not for scale. And so that's kind of the basic summary in a nutshell of my huge strategy in like 5 minutes.
Perfect. I love that. Okay, so I want to rewind a little bit to the 80-20. I love Pareto principle. It's a power law distribution. You can actually prove mathematically why these things exist, and it's crazy how many places this is applied. Exactly what you said. That I love your example of the gardening. 20% of the seeds you sow will produce 80% of the fruit from your garden, and it happens everywhere. So I'm curious, and also I love the opposite side of that too. 20% or 80% of your problems will come from 20% of your inputs, right? So like I love also the example of family members. I'm thinking that 80%, we're in this in-between zone right now, Thanksgiving and Christmas when we're recording. And so it's probably top of mind for us, the family issues. I'm guessing that like 80% of the issues in your family are probably coming from that 20% of the people who show up and maybe drink a little too much or don't show up late or whatever. And so that Pareto principle applies everywhere.
Yeah. And you can actually 80-20, the 80-20 and 80-20 it again. And it's actually the 1% produces 50% of the results.
Nice. That was going to be my next question. So if we 80-20 once, then we can do it again and again and again, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. You don't need to do that for Amazon PPC though.
Fantastic. So now we have our 20% of our keywords that are giving us 80% of our results. And as you suggested, we put it into an exact match campaign. Just tiny question, do you do one exact per campaign, or do you do like all the exacts in one big campaign?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan, and these are two different strategies that both work. I am a single keyword ad campaign, so one keyword per campaign, exact match only. And the reason I like those is because you can customize the budget, you can customize the top of search bid adjustment placement, the rest of search and the product page placement as well, and then you can also the whole campaign is dedicated to that word in that exact match type. So that's how you can scale it so much. That's why I love it.
And it might feel a little weird if you have 10 products, each one has 20 keywords that you're targeting. That's 200 campaigns, and that's just for the exact match. But the thing is that if you automate these things, the software that most of the software out there can handle these types of things. So it's not usually a big deal if you have that many campaigns. If you look at it yourself inside of the campaign manager, it looks overwhelming, but with the software, it usually is not a big deal. And speaking of software, Travis, why don't you tell us a little bit about automation?
Yeah, so I've tried so many different softwares, and there are a lot out there. And it just depends on how much automation you want. But you got to be careful with softwares because some of them can actually kill your campaigns and kill your products. And so I went through 6 of them. They're probably better now than when I tried them, but they're always continually improving. But the key thing with software is you just need to automate the right parts of Amazon campaigns. So like your keyword bids, that's a mathematical formula that can be done. And we were doing it in our agency every single week on our clients. And the software does it, I think, every 12 hours. And so it uses math to form your keyword bid, to do your bid adjustment, to change your budgets, to do all the things that you don't need to be doing because it's math. And when math is involved, software can do that for you. You can automate that. What you can't automate is the strategy side of Amazon PPC. When to go after sponsored brands, when to go after sponsored display, when to go after broad and auto. Because like I said, exact match is how you scale. And so when we take those 20% of search terms, put them into an exact match campaign, then those are what you scale. I don't recommend having any broad or auto on if you have a limited budget. And so you want to maximize your budget to those exact match campaigns as much as you can. If you have budget left over, that's when you can start exploring and forming broad campaigns around those search terms. And then you can turn on an auto if you want. I recommend auto. And like if I were to put steps in order, number 9 would be auto. I don't know what number 1 through 8 would be, but number 9 would be auto. And so auto isn't something that I like to do at the beginning. It has its place. It does well with product pages, but you shouldn't be putting your faith and trust into Amazon to do all your bidding for you and what words to go for, because you're just essentially turning on a robot that isn't as sophisticated as some of the softwares that are out there. And so I always recommend focusing on the exact match first, then the broad and auto after that, when you start having more budget to explore. Did I even answer your question there, or am I just rambling now?
No, that's great. So I guess if we want to get, so software is the way to go for sure, is the main
Yep.
takeaway. And then why don't you tell us a little bit more tactically, like what kind of software and how we might go about doing this kind of thing?
So my exact software that I use at this moment in time is Quartile. There are other ones that are really good out there. I've used Samurai Seller in the past. That's good for if you're on a budget. And those are the two that I recommend for people, depending on the budget. And then Ads by Helium 10 is also another good one that's out there. The reason Ads and Samurai Seller are good is because they're less expensive, not as automated. And so you're still going to be doing things. It's semi-automated is what it's called. And so you're still clicking buttons to actually do things. But if you want to more fully automate it, Quartile is what we use in our agency. And then we help with the more strategy side of Quartile after that. And so it's a great software because it manages your keyword bids, like I talked about, your budgets. It actually creates the campaigns for you as well. And so it will create those exact match campaigns as it finds it. And it's starting to create for us product targeting ads and sponsored display product targeting ads. And so it's starting to manage the sponsored display and brand side too, which is huge. But still, don't let these softwares take over your whole Amazon campaign manager, because you still have to think about Amazon PPC. In our agency and in our brand I Love, what the software allowed us to do is it freed up our time to think bigger picture, to take the strategy to the next level for our clients and for I Love. And so when we implemented this software, we were doing about 30,000 in spend and making about 60,000 per month. So about a 50% ACOS. And when we implemented the software, our best month was 40,000 spend with 140,000 in sales for about a 30, or it was like a 27% ACOS.
Nice.
We average around a 35% ACOS now, but our sales have just gone through the roof. So that's direct profit to your bottom line. So we went from a 50% ACOS to a 35% ACOS with the software, increased our spend, increased our sales, of course, and then of course it increases our profit. So it scaled us tremendously well, because then we could start focusing on product development, strategy, coming out with video ads, coming out with more banner ads, things like that. But you don't do all that stuff until you have the money after you've scaled the ads first. So put all the money towards scale first, and then you can start coming out with strategy second.
Nice. I love that. And I guess, why don't you tell us a little bit more of the strategy around using, doing a 35% ACOS, like because some people some people that might be, probably most of the private label sellers, they'll be right at your margin. And so everything you're selling through advertising, you're either breaking even or losing maybe a little bit on that. So why don't you tell us the strategy of why most people target that 35% kind of break even price on PPC?
Okay, I'm getting on my soapbox for a little bit.
Sure.
If your margin's 35%, that can be a little low. It can be good though too. Number one, build your audience, serve a client, figure out who you're serving and ask them what they want, and then charge a premium for it. Because once you start charging a premium, then that profit margin goes sky high. So we go after a higher ACOS because we sell consumables, number one, and we have the margin to go after a higher ACOS. Our break-even ACOS is around 62%, so that's what we go after. And we end up at 35%, which is great.
Oh,
so
there you go.
It's
perfect.
It's half of what we're going after. But when I see people like, I always think that your ACOS, and this is very controversial, Devin in our group is very against this, but I believe that your profit margin is what ACOS you should be going after. So if your profit margin is 35%, that's the ACOS you should be going after, because that's your break-even point. So if you're breaking even with Amazon PPC, that means you're probably getting more organic sales. If you're not getting more organic sales and you're breaking even on Amazon PPC, that means you're in a highly competitive niche that you probably can't get up in those rankings anyway. And so that's where an audience comes in, because you can drive external traffic to get up there. And I'll give a quick example. We came out with a face wash. Face washes are pretty competitive. There's a lot of face washes out there, and there's a lot of big brands that sell them for cheap. We have a $20 face wash. It's $20 a month. And we got up to number 3 for the search term tea tree face wash, which is a big search term. And we did that through audience, through a premium product that we could spend more on advertising, and serving our audience to just we gave them a deal on it to try it out first. And then we just built up a following for that because it's consumable, and we went after that higher ACOS.
Nice. Good. Perfect. I like that. That was a great answer. So I like that you answered the bigger question rather than the small question, that you should be targeting products that have higher than 35% margin in them. But I agree with everything you said. If you are operating at those things, at those margins, we do generally, my advice to everyone is to do break even PPC, because exactly what you said, Travis, you get like what many people call a halo effect on it. And the halo effect is that the fact that you sell more product, you will rank higher, and you should have higher organic sales through that. And we've proven that, sort of, maybe not statistically significant. We've proven that when we've turned PPC off for certain reasons, and our organic sales will go down because of our ranking will go down as well. Plus, the more product you sell, if you just start selling more volume, your pricing generally will go down because of the volume, right? Your shipping goes down, your overhead in comparison goes down as a percentage and everything. So breaking even on advertising is okay by me. So
and something you can do with a premium product is you can actually put a big discount code on it. So how we launch products, just a quick aside on how we launch, is we will put a huge coupon on it. So like we had a 50% off coupon for almost a year on a product we launched, and because we wanted to get it to 100 sales a day. And we ended up getting it topped out about 70 sales a day. But then we reduced that coupon slowly over time. And now we have a 20% off coupon on it still, but we're still maintaining those sales and that velocity.
Nice. That's great. Fantastic. And then also I wanted to plug too, we did interview Aaron Cordovez, who is the CEO of Samurai Seller, which is another PPC software. That was episode 32, 8-figure seller, Amazon Cordovez on PPC and building businesses. So you want to listen to more about that. If you really like PPC, there's another episode for you. But now, Travis, tell us, I heard you say we help people do this. We do this. We have an agency. Tell us a little bit more about that agency.
Yeah, so I Love is my primary brand. That's what I've built with my wife. And as a result of that, my wife and I are both optometrists, for those that didn't listen to the previous episode. And we actually, it was really weird. We formed like this agency of doctors that were coming to us with products that they were selling online, and they wanted to get on Amazon. And so we kind of formed this agency, and we help people get on Amazon, or we help people sell on Amazon, and we focus on their Amazon PPC. And it's funny because our first 4 clients were all doctors, and they were all supplement brands. So that's how we got started, because people were coming to us, seeing what we were doing in this space, and they wanted to be a part of it. And so that's how the agency started. The agency is run by me and my best man in my wedding, one of my best friends from college. And, we started this agency, and now we've grown to a lot more than just 4 clients. And we specialize in kind of the supplement area and kind of consumables, but we also we'll do anything as far as like we help anybody sell, but we jump on a call first. We only work with brands. We work with people that are actually building something bigger than just a widget on Amazon. We don't really help people sell widgets on Amazon just because it doesn't excite us. We like to get behind brands that are actually exciting to work with, that have a mission. Like I stated, we have a great mission with our company, and we want you to have a mission too, because we want the motivation to help get you to your mission, because that's going to help us all win in the world, and it's going to make the world a better place. So that's what we've kind of based our agency around. And we actually have a lot of fun because it's 2 of my best friends. I have another partner in it as well. He was a best friend in college too. And we formed this agency to have fun. And you can tell because there's not a lot of stress in it, and we just love growing clients. And what we do is we take the strategies that we use in iLove, we try them out in iLove first, and then we take them over to the agency for across clients. And we usually start out with our 2 of our clients that were kind of our originals, and then we'll take it across the entire agency after our strategy works. And it's a lot of fun, and a lot of fun. And our agency name's Profitable Pineapple Ads. So profitablepineapple.com is our website.
Fantastic. I love that. And that of course will be in the show notes. Travis, I love, one thing I'm catching from you is this abundance mindset. There's different ideas around how we should all gain, right? Gain, whether it's personal, whether it's money or personal growth or whatever. And I've always been a big believer in the abundance mindset. If you give as much as you can, and just be open and share and kind of tell the universe what you want and what you think should be, that things will kind of come back around to you. That's one of the reasons why I have this podcast, is just to give as much as I can and to put it all out there. And I'm getting that from you too, Travis. So I'm curious what you think about the abundance mindset.
So this is a great story. This is an aside story, but last year, we kind of talked about this off air, but last year, I didn't join my mastermind. I started a mastermind in 2000. I didn't start a mastermind. I joined a mastermind in 2016, and it's called The Back Room. It's Ryan Daniel Moran's mastermind. And I was in it in 2017 and 18. And then, I was like, you know what, we don't need it in 2019. Let's take a step back from the mastermind and use that money that we would pay the mastermind to build our business. And in 2019, we focused on sales, not service. We focused on sales, period. We just wanted to sell more. And what happened was our revenue went down, our profit went down. I was so scarce minded that we about sold our business for like a 2x EBITDA. And because we just wanted to get rid of it. We were just like, we don't know what to do anymore. Let's just get rid of it. Let's sell it as fast as we can. So the funny thing is, I joined the mastermind again right before we sold, had a meeting with Ryan Moran, and I realized that it was my own mindset that was doing all this to us. And so I got back my abundance mindset by just focusing back on the things that got me there in the first place. And this year, our revenue's up over 20%. Our profit's almost up 200%. So we're a lot more profitable. We're having a lot more money coming in, and our revenue's up as a result. And abundance is the key. And I just believe in service. And so the more we serve others, the bigger the pie gets, the more abundant we all become. I mean, that's isn't that the key principle behind capitalism? Is that if we solve the world's problems by serving others, that the world becomes a better place. A lot of people will say the world is more poor than it's ever been. There's more poverty, but that's the exact opposite. The people that are in poverty have more than they've ever had in their life. Yes, there are people dying from hunger. There are people dying from lack of sanitary water, but not as many people as there was 100 years ago from that. And so the world is becoming more abundant, and capitalism is solving those problems. And that's the beauty of capitalism.
I love that. I love capitalism. As long as you don't lie, cheat, and steal to make money, capitalism is a good thing. There are people who lie, cheat, and steal to make money, right? So discount those people, but rest of it, capitalism, I love it. Profit is a good thing. Profit means that you are delivering value to people, and you're doing it in an efficient way. So we do want to increase profits everywhere, in my opinion, at least. Travis, I love that. That's such a great answer. So I love, we got a little bit of my 3 questions I ask everyone in the last episode, but you told me that you have 3 more things that you can add to that. So I want to ask you again, related to PPC and abundance mindset, what is your big why? Why not just keep doing the optometry thing? Why are you in this e-com entrepreneurial space?
Yeah. So we started doing this. I've always had this itch to teach others what I'm learning and just throw everything out there just to see what happens. And, it took me a while to get it, but I started doing it about a year ago in 2019, in the end of 2019. And the reason I wanted to do it is just the why behind our agency is we want to help 1,000 brands scale on Amazon. But the real why behind that is I've always loved teaching. I used to be a professor at Ohio State University after I graduated, and I always loved teaching. And we talked about this on the last episode, but when you serve, or maybe it was the beginning of this episode, I don't remember, but when you serve others, that's when happiness really happens. And so I love serving my dry eye customers, but it's 60-year-old females. And so it's not really they're not my people. And I don't I can talk to them and I have a good time with them, but it's not I'm not going to go hang out with a bunch of 60-year-old females. But the entrepreneur side is that 25 to 44-year-old male and female abundance mindsets. They just drive the world. And when I get off conversations with this podcast, I'm just pumped and I'm just ready to conquer the world. So selfishly, I came out with the agency to get into this world, to have a lot of fun with my 2 best friends and, go to conferences with them. But I just love serving the entrepreneur just because it's a lot of fun. And when you get in the circle, you just get a buzz that nothing else can give you.
Yes. I love that. And yes, that's such a great answer. And again, one of the reasons why I do this podcast, exactly what you said, Travis, interviewing people like you gets me super pumped. So I love it. What is some media you like to share with us? Maybe like a podcast or a book?
So the last episode, I talked about all the books I like to read more than once a year.
Yep.
Or every year, I should say. The one I did save for this one though, and I did mention it in the last one, but Profit First is one of the, by Michael Michalowicz, is one of the best books that an entrepreneur can read, and read it over and over again. But don't just read it. This is a book you have to implement, because when you implement it, you'll know exactly how much you can spend on PPC. You'll know when you can hire somebody for PPC. You'll know when you can come out with a new product. You'll know when you can hire a new person on your team. You'll know exactly how much to pay yourself. You can plan your profit, because it's called Profit First for a reason. You actually pay your profit out first, and then you get your expenses out from that. So I actually take it a step further, and he breaks it down into different bank accounts. So you have your income account, you pay your profit first, then you pay yourself, then you pay your taxes. And I actually added another column in there, and the other bank account is inventory. So when you have an inventory bank account, you can build that up, and that's when you know when you can come out with new products. So if your inventory account becomes excess and you don't have any accounts payable and there's money in there, come out with a new product. But if there's no money in that inventory account, don't come out with a new product, or you're going to bankrupt yourself. And so Profit First, if you run that in your business, you will never, ever fail. It's plain and simple. If you run it and stick to it, you'll never fail.
Perfect. Yes. I would love for you to come back on and do a whole episode just on Profit First, because you're honestly probably one of the biggest advocates. Everyone, many people I talked to who read the book absolutely love it, and you're one of the biggest advocates of like really showing how awesome that book is. There's
changed my life.
There's another book too that is really applicable. That is basically not a substitute, a complement to that book, and that's the Profit First for e-com sellers, and it's by Cindy Thompson,
something like that. Yeah, she goes into the inventory account quite a bit, and I actually came out with the inventory account before that book came out. So
hey,
I should have been the author. But if you listen to Audible books, you have to get this one on paperback too. Profit First. I recommend getting the Audible from Michael Michalowicz, because he's such a good reader, and Cindy's not as good, but get the book, because you'll want to take notes and you'll be able to see it physically, like what you need to be doing. And it's so key. So I actually have the Audible, I have the Kindle, and I have the paperback. So this is a book hack for your listeners out there. If you want to read a book as fast as you can, listen to it on 4x to 5x while reading it. And so what that does is you're hearing it while visually seeing it. And it's going to sound like you can't hear it when it's that fast, but you're actually intaking it a lot better, because you're getting two senses involved at the same time.
Oh, that's super cool. I've never done that. Wow.
It's interesting. I'll say that.
There you go. Cool. So awesome. I love that. Profit First by Mike Michalowicz and Profit First for e-com sellers by Cindy Thompson, I think. Both great books. So Travis, tell us, what is one actionable thing that Amazon sellers can do today?
So I got two, if that's okay.
Perfect.
So back to the 80-20. How you figure out your search terms that are driving your results is you download your search term report, and that's inside Campaign Manager. Just go over to reports, and then it's a search term report. Go back as far as you can. It's usually like 60 days. And then just download it and take a look at the data. It's a really cool report to look at, because then you can change up your bullets and your titles and all of that based on what you're seeing with that data. But focus on those search terms. That is the one action item that you could do, is download your search term report, focus on those 20% of search terms that are driving 80% of your sales. And then I have a free course on Amazon PPC. I also have a paid course and a mastermind. That's a little more around automation. But if you want to take my free course, it's at profitablepineapple.com, and you can sign up for that. It's absolutely free. The free course takes more time. So that's you're trading money for time. So it's free. So you're going to spend more time in PPC. Great for people that are just getting started or people that are on a budget. Our paid course and mastermind, that's for more people that like to trade money for time. So you're going to learn how to automate more of your PPC. You're also going to get some discounts on the software that we use. And then you're going to be in our mastermind. So we meet every 2 weeks and just talk shop, and it's a lot of fun. And then, of course, if you want us to do it for you, then that's at Profitable Pineapple too. But I get on the phone with you to see if we're a fit. And I talk to 10 people probably a week, and we maybe enroll one, and that's it. So we're pretty selective with who we work with.
Perfect, Travis. All right. Thank you so much. We'll have all that information, all the links and everything in the show notes. Travis, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on. Tell us a little bit about the 80-20 strategy, some PPC hacks, and of course, a little bit of fun discussion about abundance mindset and how to do profit first.
I appreciate you having me on. This was fun.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Travis.